That was unexpected. Here's the bridge. Oh, it's so cool. A last sip of air, and you enter the stadium. Hello, traveler. Today I'll head to Olympia to chase the Olympic spirit and see if motorcycle racing has been added to the sports. But first, ancient Sparta, birthplace of ruthless warriors. I heard not everyone is allowed to enter. So now let's get to the extraction point, to the archaeological site of Sparta. It should be somewhere near the statue of Leonidas. Ancient Sparta. It's in this direction. I can stop that way. Well, I can't see anyone, but the door is open, so I hope that I'm welcome. Welcome. Sparta was the strongest poleis here. It was found around the 10th century BC and it met its end in around 2nd century BC. It was more of a military city where the kids were trained from early ages, around 7-8 years old. Well, they used to send their children to military camps, and that's how they were able to protect their city and keep Sparta the strongest poleis in the ancient times. They had pretty well structured hierarchy. Here, the most important were the Spartans. They were the warriors and were part of the Great Council. They took the important decisions for the future of the city. So we can say that this council shaped the economical and the political relations with the other countries in the world back then. The other two parts of the society here were the Perieci and the Loti. So the Perieci were those people that are part of the borders of Sparta but were not Spartans. They had the rights of private property, but they couldn't go to war and they couldn't take part in making the political decisions. And the Loti, they were so widely called in the other countries the slaves. In most parts, the Loti were farmers, and along with the Periaki, they paid taxes and weren't allowed to take part in the army. So the Spartans were warriors, and one curious fact is that they depict their god of war chained, because in that way they believe he will never leave them. We can't say that it worked in the end. So there's a Byzantine church. It is St. Nicholas Basilica. So their god had been helping them until the end of the Peloponnesian War, when they defeated Athens. But this long war kinda exhausted all the policies and made them pretty vulnerable to the other people around. This is Sparta. I wonder where was the hole which the Spartans used to throw the enemies. Down there should be the theater of Sparta, and they're kinda renovating it. The ancient theater of Sparta, situated at the southern slope of the Acropolis hill, it is not confirmed whether the theater of classical times was founded at the same position as the one visible to modern visitors. Later, Sparta had to obey to Alexander the Great and become part of his empire. The end of Sparta, the system that they were using, came in the 2nd century BC, unfortunately. But at least we have some heritage left from these people. And for me, one of the biggest heroisms of all time is the one at the Thermopylae against the Persians, just to unite Hellas to defeat the Persians. Another curious fact is that Sparta never had fortification walls. That's because all other armies and great warriors were afraid enough of the Spartans. They never needed walls, because every single person here is a trained warrior. and the legends say that all the disabled children were thrown away to die because Sparta needed just healthy and strong ones. They were kind of serious people. I can imagine what kind of courage you should have to chain a god. And here are Spartan shields on the fences. So that was the amazing Sparta, the strongest poleis of the ancient times. I like it. I'm definitely a fan of Sparta. And actually, that was the reason. I saw the monument of Leonidas and I knew that I want to take a photo of it. And I planned a trip to Greece. So the next stop is another pretty famous place. Ha! It is the birthplace of the Olympic Games. Yeah, ancient Olympia, the archaeological site. It's another place full of history. So let's go to Olympia. That was unexpected. They were scared. It's like I'm in Pompovo, a ski resort in Bulgaria, even though that's about 1,000 kilometers away, and this is Olympia. Finally, somewhere near the archaeological site of Olympia. Hello. Oh, I'm too busy. Is there a place to leave my stuff? A wardrobe or something? Oh, there we go. Actually, it's a great place, like a park. Hello. Thank you very much. Welcome to the archaeological site of Olympia. Here we have the Cronion Thermae, a large building complex with many architectural phases and functions. So this kind of was a training area. Training running, throwing javelin, etc. Interesting fact is that Olympia was built to worship Zeus, and here was also built a Temple of Zeus, which is the one over there, and inside this temple was installed the giant statue of Zeus, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. And Olympia is most famous for hosting the Olympic Games in the ancient times. This square of colonnades is Palaestra. Square building 66.35 to 66.75 meters. Inner central court surrounded by colonnade. It was training area for practice in wrestling, boxing and jumping. Here also philosophers, orators and poets used to give their lectures and communicate their ideas. This is the giant square of colonnades. And those on the left are Doric, those on the right are Ionic. So let's get to the other parts. This oval structure is the Philippion. Its construction began by Philip II after his victory in the Battle of Chaeronea, 338 BC. After Philip's death, it was completed by his son Alexander the Great. So, this is the Temple of Hera, built at the end of the 7th century BC, the oldest temple of the sanctuary, among the best specimens of archaic Doric temple architecture. According to legend, here was kept the disc of the sacred truce. In Roman times, the statue of Hermes was positioned in the cella. It was the Hymphanion, 2nd century AD, monumental fountain donated by Herodes Atticus and his wife Regilla into the sanctuary. Building were adorned with statues of Herodes Atticus, of the Emperor Antonius, Pius, Hadrian, Marcus Aurelius, and members of their families. That here was Metron, 4th century BC, 10 by 20 meters. It was dedicated to the mother of gods, Rhea or Cybele. So Cybele. Bella is also worshipped by the Thracians. I've already been to a place that is considered a sanctuary dedicated to Cybele. You can check the video here. These were treasuries, the 6th to 5th century BC, donated by the Greek city-states and their colonies in South Italy and Sicily. Bases of Zanes, the Zanes plural from the name Zeus, were bronze statues of Zeus placed on the 16th survived bases. The inscription on the bases named the athlete and the nature of the infringement for which he was penalized. The position of the Zanes along the way to the stadium was a warning to all competitors. So don't cheat, don't even think about it. So a last sip of air and you enter the stadium with the mentality of a champion. Stadium. Middle of the 5th century BC. The present final position of the stadium is that of classical times. Track dimensions between the stone starting and finishing lines, 195 by 28. The embankments did not have stone seats, except for the judges at the Olympic Games on the south one. On the north embankment, still visible, is the altar of Demeter Hamin. The capacity of the stadium is estimated to 45,000 spectators. So you've just won, the crowd is crazy, and you're about to exit the stadium, knowing that you are the winner. This column was part of the votive monument of Ptolemy II. During the turbulent age of the successors following the death of Alexander the Great, Ptolemaic dynasty sponsors around 270 BC the construction of a monument in front of the Ekustoa. So what did the Romans build here? This was a villa used by the Emperor Nero, or in Bulgarian we call it Neron. This thing here is elaborately built villa with a peristyle court, many rooms, gardens and luxurious bath, the so-called octagon. And this thing here was one beautiful building once. South Portico, 4th century BC. It formed the southern boundary of the sanctuary with the facade towards the river Alpheus, decorated with both Doric and Corinthian domes. This was Leonideion, end of the 4th century BC, a large rectangular building 75 by 81 meters for the accommodation of the officials, built in 330 BC. It was named after the architect and donator Leonidas from Naxos. In Roman times, the central court was converted into an open-air swimming pool. Temple of Zeus, here we come. Temple of Zeus, Doric peripetral temple with 6 columns at the narrow and 13 columns at the long sides, 64 by 27 meters and height 20 meters. It was the model canon of the Doric order temple. Livon Enelian was the architect of the monument. In the cella was positioned the colossal gold and ivory made cult statue of Zeus, 12 meters height, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The 2 pediments were decorated with marble sculptures depicting mythological scenes. East pediment, the contest between Pelops and Oinomaus. West pediment, the fight between Lepids and Centaurs. The labors of Hercules were depicted on the 12 interior steps. The temple was destroyed by the earthquakes of 522 and 551 AD. Well, it was one long walk. There are a lot of things to see. I'm heading to the Archaeological Museum of Olympia to check it. It is thematic with colonnades. Well, the museum is full of ceramic vessels and artifacts, bronze figurines, decorations and war helmets, but the most interesting pieces were the statues. The Nike of Paeonius, the statue of Hermes which was placed in Hera's temple, and many marble statues of Roman emperors and empresses. Oh, so many statues here. Emperor Titus. This is Agrippina the Younger, wife of Emperor Claudius. Statue of Emperor Hadrian. Statue of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. So Marcus Aurelius is one of my favorites, especially for his philosophical writings. Statue of Faustina the Younger, Faustina the Elder, and again, statue of Marcus Aurelius. But especially impressive is the hall showcasing the decorations of the Temple of Zeus, the marble slabs and statues from the west pediment depicting the battle between the Lapids and the Centaurs, a Greek myth showing a violent drunken conflict at the wedding of King Pirithous. The cause of the battle was that the drunken Centaurs tried to abduct the bride. The east pediment depicts the chariot race between Pelops and Oenomaus, a Greek myth explaining the origin of the Olympic Games. Pelops sabotaged Oenomaus' chariot and won the race, causing the death of King Oenomaus. To celebrate his victory and honor the gods, Pelops founded the Olympic Games. Yeah, I'm done with the museum. It's time to leave. It was one great tour. I didn't expect to find not just one, but two statues of Marcus Aurelius in the museum. As a fan of his book to himself, I was really surprised. Just another cool thing. Well, now I'm leaving Olympia. Next stop, Agrinio, where I will spend the night. The route there passes over the Rio Antirio Bridge, which is the biggest in Greece and connects the Peloponnese with mainland Greece. Yeah, it will be fun crossing it. It's so pretty here too. Yeah. Oh, surprise, surprise! Oh, there's the house. Oh, that was cool, going across the wall. Here's the bridge. Oh, it's so cool. Look at this rock, incredible. That was so unexpected.
What is that, man? What is that? Hello, Agrinio. It was another great day. Sparta, Olympia. I still can't wrap my head around the places I visited. I'll head straight to the hotel, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you want to see more from Greece, click here. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah. That's more like it.